Elliott. In the number 81, sponsored by Rhodes Racing and RC Auto Salvage from Elba, Alabama, Bobby Rhodes. In the number 4, sponsored by Gourmet Handmade Fine Foods, TC's Direct Flooring, Dothan Windshield Supply, Ledco Flooring, and Cartona Electric Speedway from Dothan, Alabama, Paul Boswell. We're coming to green, so I'll go Aubrey Glass will be third. Max Nelson on the outside of row number 1. And bringing them to the green flag is Brandon Whitehead. Green flag is out. We are racing 25 laps for Roadrunners.
Off they go down into the corner. They stay side by side. Here we go to the backstretch. Whitehead there on the bottom side, working up on the top. It is Max Nelson in that familiar Napa-colored car. Here we come around as they try to keep them straight. Little sideways right there. Great job to hang on to it. And they barrel into turn 1.
All 3 of those guys at the front of the field went to victory lane last year at South Alabama Speedway. Whitehead in that black 98, then followed by Max Nelson in the Chase Elliott-inspired Napa colors. Aubrey Glass will round out your top 3 in the Lightning McQueen-inspired number 70.
Some of the best racing, some of the most fun racing that you're going to find on a Friday or Saturday night. It's a class like this. It's a stock class. This is what it's all about. Grassroots stock car racing. Here we go. Battle for 4th happening on Racing America. It's Boswell in the 4 trying to hang on right there. It kind of has a Kevin Harvick font to his number, as he's trying to hold off Elliott in the 21. Now they're side by side, Ryan, going into the front straightaway. That is door to door.
It is, and there's a reason that Paul Boswell has that Kevin Harvick S paint scheme. Paul Boswell is from Dothan, Alabama, but he grew up in Bakersfield, California. About the same time Kevin Harvick was doing a lot of winning on the NASCAR circuit.
Here they come making their way out. We'll continue to follow that battle right there. There you see the 4 car of Boswell. Austin Hughes running right behind him as they make their way down into the corner. I love about these stock cars, you watch them go in, they seem like a little baby giraffe, maybe just a little unsteady, trying to keep the grip. But the lead continues to be Brandon Whitehead in car number 98, hanging on to a nice advantage.
Big, heavy grocery getters, the same thing that Mom and Grandma would go pick up a supper in. These guys have turned into race cars, and they're trying to force these things to do things those cars don't want to do, and that's go fast and turn left. Whitehead has the race lead by about 0.7 of a second over Max Nelson. They work their way around the 01 of Braden Peters. Braden Peters just 14 years old out here driving. He can't go pick up supper in one of these cars, but he can drive it around the racetrack.
Good old Detroit steel, I like to call them. And here we go. Your leaders making their way. There's the speed shot right there. And I love these cars. I love you got their ride height right there. They're sitting nice and high, nice and heavy. And here they go to the back straightaway. Continues to be Whitehead holding on in car number 98. Nelson trying to give chase, but Whitehead seems to be clicking them off pretty easily right now as he hits the stripe. And it's 17 to go that time by.
17 to go, and that time Whitehead was about 1/10 of a second quicker than Max Nelson. You're seeing Aubrey Glass roll that big number 70 Chevelle through the corners there. It is neat to see these big, heavy race cars having to be forced to go through these corners. You see the ride heights on Aubrey Glass. Keep the camera right here on Aubrey Glass. Watch as he goes off in the corner. The left front fender, how much it raises up and sinks down on that tire as he hits the gas and gets that front end up in the air.
Everything that we've been talking about all night, where we talk about right front bite. The right fronts don't bite on these cars. When we talk about tire wear, really doesn't matter. None of that matters. This is good racing. The other word that we won't be talking about with this class is rotating through the corner, because they will not rotate at all.
Pushing like a grocery buggy, I think, is the saying or something like that. These cars don't want to turn. So to get them to turn better, you got to slow down. Well, if you slow down, the guy behind you is going to catch you. So it's a catch-22 system. But Brandon Whitehead has that car turning pretty decent as he stretched his lead out to over a second over Max Nelson.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about momentum, and that really is the case with these cars as well. You've got to get that momentum going, because the thing is, where we talked about with a modified, if you slip up a little bit, you can get back into the horsepower to try to pull you out. With these, when you get into that horsepower, it's not there, because you can't trick these things out, or as I should say from past experiences, you're not supposed to trick these things out.
Not supposed to trickle them out as well. I've seen a couple get trickle them out a little too much here at South Alabama Speedway, but Brandon Whitehead has been in control from the get-go. He continues to routinely knock off a lap about a tenth or so quicker as we see Paul Boswell running back in the 6th spot. Good-looking number 4. I want to say something about Paul Boswell. He's driving that number 4 car. He used to be us, Rodney. He used to be an announcer here at South Alabama Speedway, took a step back and decided, hey, I want to go back to the racetrack, but don't want to work anymore. I want to drive. So he and a friend of his built this race car, and he's gotten better every single week. He was actually our Rookie of the Year here at the racetrack last year.
Oh, wow, that is awesome. I mean, I know in my case it was the opposite. You go from the track to doing something like this and, wanting to stay involved or whatever. But, I get it a lot of times because sometimes, Ryan, when we're doing this, it does end up being a lot of work. So maybe a little bit of stress relief out there for Boswell. That is, I like that race car. That is a good-looking race car. You throw that Monte Carlo SS nose on the front of these things, and that really dresses up these big old cars.
And Paul Boswell does a great job. It's so hard to find money in short track racing. We know how it is, but he does a great job, does a great social media presence, thanking his sponsors multiple times a week, giving them lots of love. He'll post videos about him at their business and stuff, so does a great job. He goes about it the right way, does Paul Boswell.
And I'm really impressed with this class because one thing, a guy used to tell us when we would run races, our race director, he'd say, have some pride in your ride, meaning not tearing that thing up. But take a look at these. These are good-looking race cars. These are, I love these paint schemes. They're all bright and shiny as they make their way out. Hey, they're under the bright lights here. They are on Racing America, for crying out loud. It's a big night for these folks.
There may be somebody sitting in the middle of Mongolia watching these guys, and oh no, we just talked about Paul Boswell's having a great night, and now he loops his car over in turn number 2. He didn't hit anything, but that big lead that Brandon Whitehead had is gone, and Max Nelson now gets to be back on the bumper. We're going to have a restart with just 6 laps to go. But going back to my point, there may be somebody halfway around the world that is being introduced to Roadrunner race cars and South Alabama Speedway tonight, and I can't smile any bigger thinking about that.
There's a lot of folks, they may have just watched that Baby Rattler 125, but they're going to sit here and watch this and say, hey, this is the stock car racing that I've heard about, or this is where you get a lot of fans that maybe aren't with some of the stuff. Let's go back to the replay. There you see Boswell going into the corner. He just gets sideways, locks it up, and just comes to a stop. Did a good job to not loop it around.
We told you earlier about the fluid. You can still see some of the stage dry up at the top of the racetrack right there on our Racing America feed. And if Paul Boswell almost found his way up in it, and we told you that if you find your way up there, you're already in trouble. But Paul was able to keep it locked down and not find his way into the creek on the other side of the bank outside of turn number 2.
Boswell's going to tell us after the race, he's going to say, guys, I showed you up. I went up there, and I kept going, and I kept going.
We're going to get a restart here in just a moment with just 6 laps to go. Excuse me, maybe 5 laps to go? Yeah, 5 laps to go. A heads-up 5-lap shootout. Lights are already off on the pace car, so we're going to be coming to the green here in just a moment. Whitehead, Nelson, Glass, Elliott, Hughes, Rhodes, and Boswell, the cars left on the racetrack here. 6 laps. Now they just added a lap. Added 2 laps. I'm confused now. It's okay. It's all right. My wife is in charge of timing and scoring right here, so if it's messed up, everybody send your mad letters to her, not to me.
Hey, remember, she chased you down a cheeseburger a while ago, so
do that.
you need to take that back.
Around for a little while.
Gotta take that back. Here we come, single file restart back to the green once again. Whitehead brings them down. Good old helmet dash happening right here as they dive it down into turn number 1.
Whitehead got a good run, but Nelson were able to roll the center. But look at the power being put down by Brandon Whitehead. He'll stretch it out to a car length down the back straightaway. Aubrey Glass trying to keep pace, but not able to do so. It looks like it's going to be a two-car race here with 6 laps to go.
That was a really good push right there coming out of the corner for Max Nelson in car number 9. He's right there. He's about a half a car length behind, but there you see it as they make their way down the back straightaway. Whitehead there gets on the gas and able to put a car length and a half, but here comes the 9 car. Nelson coming right back at him as they come to the stripe this time. It's 5 markers remaining in your Roadrunner main event.
5 laps to go. It's a 2-car show. Nose to tail at the front of the field is Brandon Whitehead and Max Nelson. They have put a pretty good size 5-car length gap over Aubrey Glass. Nelson to the inside. Whitehead's led them all so far, but Nelson, look at him run him up the racetrack a little bit. Contact off the corner. Max Nelson going to get away with the race lead as Whitehead slides down the straightaway.
And there you saw it right there as Whitehead went high. It was pushing like a dump truck. He had that thing cranked all the way to the left, and it just would not go anymore. And look at this. Max Nelson trying to get away from the pack off of the restart. I tell you, sometimes those cautions pay off for some people. For Max Nelson, that definitely paid off.
Most definitely did, as we now have less than 3 laps to go for Max Nelson, but it's not a Sunday drive for him. He almost looped it by himself coming off of turn number 2. Coming back to the popsicle sticks from Flagman Drew Chance. It's Max Nelson, Brandon Whitehead, and Aubrey Glass.
Here they come. Those 2 sticks in the air that time by. It's Max Nelson taking the field down into turn number 1. Whitehead trying to give chase, but Whitehead better not look back because here comes Aubrey Glass in car number 70. To the back straightaway we go. 3-car breakaway. You check in on Racing America. There is your race leader, Max Nelson, making his way out of turn 4. White flag in the air. 4/10 of a mile to go. This time by for Max Nelson in car number 9. He'll take it down to the bottom of the racetrack, gently taking out of turn number 2 that time. No stumble, no bumble that time. Here he goes, nose first down into turn number 3. He'll put it on the white line. Whitehead is giving chase, but he is going to run out of time. Checkered flag in the air at South Alabama Speedway in the Roadrunners. It's Max Nelson in car number 9, Brandon Whitehead and Aubrey Glass, your top 3 in the 25-lap feature race to round out Saturday night at the Rattler here in the Roadrunner division. Nice run for the driver of car number 9, Max Nelson. They'll make their way around. Final main event of the night here on Saturday night. If you're just joining us, Bubba Pollard, your winner of the 18th annual Baby Rattler 125, as he wins over Michael Hind. And here is the 9-car, one of my favorite things to do. This should happen at every short track. He's doing what we all grew up watching. He burns up those rear tires, and he has taken the ceremonial victory lap with that checkered flag. Car number 9, Max Nelson, your winner here tonight at South Alabama Speedway. Once again, a quick look at that schedule for tomorrow. 12:45 to 1:15. Well, let me take it back just a little bit. Grandstands open at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock will be the grandstands opening up. 10 o'clock, you also have a church service as well with a live gospel band. And then for fans at 12:45. 12:45 to 1:15, we'll have a driver autograph session with the Cars and Stars of the 47th Annual Hardee's Rattler 250. At 1:30, our pre-race ceremonies, and then we will embark into 250 laps. Who will get to kiss the rattlesnake tomorrow? We will find out at the conclusion of those 250 laps to see who is crowned the champion of the 47th Annual Hardee's Rattler 250 as the 9-car of Max Nelson. Popular win here for the driver of car number 9. He'll make his way into victory lane, and we will head down to Ryan for our winner's interview.
Your final winner on Rattler Saturdays, Roadrunner winner, Max Nelson. Brandon Whitehead led most of that race, Max, but you took your chance there late off a restart. Ran him, not contact, but not giving him any room over in turn number 3 and 4 either. You find your way to victory lane on a windy, chilly night.
Oh, yeah, he's a little bit faster, and I could tell he's getting looser and looser and looser, and it's a blessing I got that yellow flag because I took my shot, it was there, and we in the winner's circle. And I want to give all my thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for making this possible.
What does it mean for you to win on a Rattler weekend here at South Alabama Speedway?
It's a blessing, and it even more. It's been a year since my buddy Charles Gardner passed away, and I'm going to dedicate this to him and my Uncle Roy.